Welcome back everyone, I'm Senak and this is episode 4 of my Practical PowerShell tutorial series. We've already learned some basic file management and archive scripting, and today we're going to work on some basic program management. For this example, I've installed 7-zip on my test machine, so we have something that we can quickly uninstall and reinstall for the sake of the video. The commandlet that we're going to use today is Get-WMIObject. Now this is an extremely odd commandlet as it doesn't really play by a lot of the same rules that other commandlets use. Because of what this commandlet's capable of, you probably won't find decent help files for exactly what you're trying to do, and some of its features are better implemented elsewhere. For example, that said, when it's used correctly, you really can get some work done with this command. So WMI is broken out into classes. A list of those classes, I just started scrolling there, and there are just thousands of those. But the class that we're going to focus on today is the Win32_product class. And this class is essentially the way that WMI, and by association, PowerShell, ties into your add remove programs list. So let's just start, and this will just give us a quick list of all installed programs on this computer. Depending on how many programs you have installed on your computer, your list may still be scrolling. I try to keep this one pretty lean for the sake of this video. Also, this list is formatted in such a way that it's not really, you're not going to get a lot of good reporting data out of this just because the formatting is not very good. But it's okay because we can pass that to format table. All of a sudden now this is a little bit better, but we still have too much information. We probably don't care about the identifying number. We might not care about the caption, the description, etc. Thankfully, format table has a dash property feature. Most of the time you're probably going to care about the name, the vendor, the version, and maybe the install date. For the sake of this video, we're just go with name and vendor. So you can see now it's expanded itself out a little bit, and it's not crunched for space. And this is not a half bad report, but we are still in the report phase. We're actually here to do something with this information though, so we're going to proceed. But before we can hand our script over to the action phase, we need to get this list down to just 7-zip. Now WMIObject does have a dash filter flag that works well enough. However, for it to really work great, you have to know the exact name of the software you're looking for. So for instance, we could do Win32 product filter name equals 7-zip, the exact version, and let it run. And it will just return just that. However, what if some of our computers don't have 7-zip 9.38 x64 edition? What if some of them are 32 or they're running an old version? You can almost never guarantee a fully homogeneous environment. Not even very tightly controlled corporate networks have that consistency. So using the exact name is rarely ever the right solution unless you only actually want that version. We need wildcards. Unfortunately, we can't just slap an asterisk in there and let it go. You have to construct a query. Now, I'm sure there are times and places for WMI's query language, but I haven't found it yet, especially not when we're already familiar with the where object command. We can just type name is like 7-zip. Now, that's much easier. It doesn't care what version, doesn't care if it's 64, 32, doesn't care if it's version 1 or version 9.38, we have our 7-zip. Now we've lost our formatting from the table, but since it's only one item, I actually prefer this view. Well, I only really prefer the table method when I'm looking at a giant list of objects. When it's something like this, it's nice to have all the information stacked right there, no ellipses, it's all there. So, we're going to pipe that command now to getMember. And as you'll see, there are several methods up here at the top. And that's what we care about. Now you may remember in our archiving script when we called getDate and then used the addMonths method. Well, it's pretty much the same thing here because see, PowerShell lets you encapsulate even a string of commands into parentheses like that, and it still works the same way. But now we can call any function or any property that was listed in there from outside these parentheses. So now we're going to call the uninstall method, hit enter, and just let it run for a second. Now you're going to get back some text. The only value that we really care about here is the return value. A return value of 0 means you're free and clear, the software is uninstalled, don't worry about it, you're all done. And sure enough, it's gone. I don't see it. And if we do, get WMI Win32 product, it's not there anymore. Sometimes you'll get different return values. Sometimes you'll see a return value of 3010, and you can actually just type net help message and then the error code. It'll say, oh, the uninstall is successful, but you need to reboot your system. Sometimes you'll see, I think it's 1603, very generic error. Sometimes you will find a program that just doesn't want to uninstall from a shell. Maybe there's interactive questions in the uninstaller that you have to answer, that kind of thing. However, in my personal experience, almost every big major corporate application I've encountered in a network environment can be made to work with a little bit of effort. So you might be wondering why we'd go through that kind of trouble to uninstall something if we're sitting at the computer and could just as easily run the uninstall through add and remove programs. Well, the cool thing is inside WMIObject, there is a flag called computer name. In this case, we'll just test with localhost. And all of a sudden now, we can point that command against any computer that we so desire. Now, we can get a list of names from a text file and use the for each object command to run through the list. Alternatively, you could be using the get-AD-computer commandlet. Now you have a single line of code that can go through your entire network and remove a piece of software without needing to interrupt your users. So, hopefully you found this useful as well as a little helpful, and we're probably going to touch upon WMIObject many more times before this series is out. So, as always, thank you guys for joining me, and if you have any questions, my public key is in the description below. Thank you.